Hi, I'm Ron.
And I'm Don.
And this is the Ron and Don Show. Thanks for joining us today. Our topic today is budgeting. And when we talk about budgets, generally businesses fall into one of two categories. They either have a fiscal budget or they have a calendar budget. A calendar budget would be, for example, January 1 to December 31. Fiscal can be any rolling 12-month period of time that they choose for whatever reason to adopt. But regardless of what system of budget it is, fiscal versus calendar, one thing is true for either case, and that is that advanced planning is key.
Well, my problem with budgeting is it's savings, and I like to spend. Is this a budget for spending?
Facility managers spend.
Oh, okay. So let's go into some thoughts on how we're going to spend that money that we're budgeting for. When we're talking about spending money, we need to look at what we're going to need to spend for the next 18 months minimum. In fact, you may even have to look at 24 months depending on how early you start. Normally at least 6 months before the start of the new year. What do you have to be thinking about is, are you going to go out and actually survey the restaurants? If you are, then you're going to spend some time talking to ops about what their wishes are, and a lot of those wishes are going to be wishes, not needs, and you'll have to keep them in to make them happy until finance and their bosses cut them out. If you're not going to go out and actually survey the restaurants, then you're going to have to do some surveys by maybe Google, looking down on the restaurants from above, taking a look at the parking lot, the roof, remembering what the air conditioner ages are, talking to key contractors like your HVACR contractor, plumber, the hot equipment contractor, your electrician, maybe even the general contractor that's been in there doing some work, and he could tell you what kind of rotten wood you got or whatever the problems are.
Well, I can speak to that from the perspective of a general contractor because for years we've been asked to get involved in this budget process, again, many months in advance, and from our perspective provide budget estimates. Now those aren't necessarily hard fixed quotes because some of that work again may not be done for many months, but at least provide a budget estimate to say that at some point in the future when we do address this issue, you can probably expect it's going to cost X.
This is also a time when you need to get operations buy-in. They're going to have a list to give to you of, as I said, wants, but you see some needs that they may not really want to spend money on, but you can talk to them and show them how it's going to be to their best interest. Otherwise, they're going to spend a lot of R&M money getting through the year. And then also, this is the time where you can, if you have new technologies or new items or changes that you think would benefit and save the company money or create more revenues for them in some way, you need to bring that up at that point and get operations on board so they can help you fight for it. Because if you want it and they don't really care, it ain't going to get in the budget. And this has to be well in advance of when senior management and finance start talking about budgets and formulating the final numbers. So you have to be up front and working with the local operations folks on that.
I can't think of how many times we've seen this in a cost-benefit analysis where, for example, for a bump out of a dining room or adding a patio, and if you, the facility manager, can provide the cost-benefit analysis, oftentimes that's all it takes to close the deal.
Now, when we get into the budgeting process, as I've mentioned in other episodes, operations will likely err and choose on the side of front of the house things and guest appearance items. And sometimes they'll ignore the structural or the roof or the parking lot or other things that are also important and are now timely. If they choose to direct the money in the front to the guest issues that they see, they make it, they get to spend it. By being ready to solve this emergency problem that you didn't get budgeted and executing it cleanly, you will then have improved your visibility with operations and senior management, and they'll trust you a little bit more when you say that needs to be done. They're going to say, maybe we don't have to do this other item if facilities is saying this is critical and has to happen. It helps an awful lot in developing their belief in you.
Sooner or later, it's all got to be done, right?
Exactly.
This is budgeting we're talking about. I'm Ron,
I'm Don.
the Ron and Don Show. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe.